This is Professor L.B.Gayakawad's English Literature Web YouTube channel. I am Professor L.B. Gayakawad is discussing today on the topic Occasions and Examples of Speeches. This is my lecture number 292 and part 4th. Here in this lecture today we are discussing the sixth type of the speech called roasting speech. This speech is given for phrasing and insulting a person naturally. Remember, the word is here naturally means in reality, or suppose positively a person is criticized here or the person is praised here through this particular roasting speech. This is the praise of the honored person, so is very interesting, and that's why this phrase is very much interesting according to the critic. This speech is given at the end of the banquet, that is, suppose there is the function, to respect someone's achievements. Remember, in life there are some persons who get some achievements, highlights, or some different type of activities in life, and that's why it becomes very much essential to welcome them or to honor them. For example, we will say the TV station Comedy Central has been organizing the roasting lectures of various celebrities. This is the particular project of the station Comedy Central. No one is perfectionist. This honored person has also some mistakes. Hence, this speech is very much interesting, peculiar, and critical because of his or her praise and insult. Here, there is the praise. It means that the praise is done there, and while doing that praise, there is the particular insult. Means some points are there which are discussed through this lecture, and that's why it becomes the criticizing on the part of the speaker, and these criticizing remarks are against the honored person, and that's why this is very much popular, peculiar, or interesting lecture. Generally, this speech is known as a political speech, and that's why here we can say that this lecture is called the political lecture, because the political lectures are like this because there is the praise of the particular political person, and also there are some critical remarks on the character of that political person. We can laugh listening this lecture. Remember, when we listen to this lecture, we are very happy, we laugh, we clap. This is a high speech because the honored person is praised for achievements and jokingly insulted for his works. Remember, here the lecture is very much interesting, very much peculiar, and very much typical, because here I will say that the person who is there, honored person, that honored person is praised as well as he is criticized for his works, and that's why here the particular lecture is very high lecture. We will say it is the summit lecture, or it is the apex lecture, I will say. It is a great test of the honored person. We can say that it is the examination of that person, it is the great test of this person, because there is the criticism and there is also the praise of this gentleman. And that's why it is the test of the honored person who cannot receive the award so easily. Remember, here in the life nothing gets easily, and that's why here this gentleman has done some achievements in his life, and against these achievements he is taking the respect from the people in the sense of the honor, and that's why in the lecture he has been criticized here, or he is criticized here. That's why we can say that nothing is nothing is received without any kind of I will say the test. The honored person is happy with us still, though he is criticized. He is honored by his dearest people. Remember, this gentleman bears, this gentleman endures all the criticisms done against him, because this honor is given to him by his dearest persons, and that's why he accepts all the matters which are against him or which is the insulting matter to him. The roastee is available on the stage. Remember, this honored person is on the stage, and the roaster, that is the presenter, is behind the dais there. We are surprised of seeing the actions of the roastee, as the roastee is the central figure of the particular presentation. Remember, the actions of this gentleman of this, I will say, the honored person, are very much typical, or very much because this gentleman is criticized there, and that's why he is rather confused there, and that's why his actions are very much different type of actions there to see. The presenter should know well of the roastee. Remember, if the presenter doesn't know well or detail about this roastee, then he will not talk properly. And then only if he knows everything about the roastee, then he can talk very detail about this honored person or the roastee. He can prepare his roasting speech also very impressively with his adventures and misadventures. Remember, there is the person, any kind of person, though we take as an example, then we find that there are some works which are the adventures of that gentleman, and some works are there of that gentleman which are the misadventures. And that's why here in this lecture, the presenter must know detail about this gentleman, because he should know all the adventures and misadventures of that gentleman here. The presenter should criticize the roastee, giving reference of his or her strange habits and amusing stories. Remember, here just we saw that this lecture is very much interesting lecture, because while giving this lecture, the presenter or the particular host gives the remarks there. If that roastee is a woman, or if that roastee is a man, then their strange habits and amusing stories are discussed there openly, and that's why here this is very much interesting lecture. The roastee should be criticized for his amusing stories and praised for his strange habits. The speech can hurt the audience also, as the roastee's private stories are declared, and that's why here it is very much sense on the part of the presenter that he should not open the personal or private matters of the roastee there in front of the audience, because the audience can take it very different way, or they can be angry with the presenter. So the presenter should talk so gently that the roastee should not be his enemy permanently. Remember, when the presenter is giving this presentation or the lecture or the speech, it may be possible that the roastee can be a permanent enemy of him if he gives some remarks on the personal life of this roastee. That's why the presenter should not do such a silly job there, because he has to maintain his good relations with the roastee forever. The honest purpose of this lecture is to attempt for contemplating the roastee for his miserable habits. It is very much true that when the presenter will lightly say about some remarks on the life of this roastee, some misadventures of this roastee, then it is quite possible that the roastee shall meditate on those problems. That is the important thing, and the roastee can improve his behavior then. The presenter should explain all the aspects of the roastee to the audience, leaving his private issues. The audience should be connected lightly with jokes to the presenter, as the success of the speech depends on them. Remember, here the point is that the roastee is there and the presenter is there. That's why the presenter should make some light jokes there, because the audience should not be bored of that lecture. If the roaster brings the joke happen between him and the roastee into their speech, it shall be a great fun, no doubt at all. And this fun will be only for those two persons, means for the roaster and roastee. And the roaster will be happy and the roastee will be happy. But it will not impress the audience, and that's why it is rather the bad part on the life of the presenter. The end of the roasting speech should be positive only. Remember, the end of this lecture speech should be positive, because the relations of that honored person should be very nice, or should be very relatively to the permanent life. Therefore, the presenter should roast that the roastee is a careful man, means finally the presenter or the particular, I will say, roaster should roast that the roastee is a careful person, means finally he should explain his positive sides, and you should praise and admire him or her, means there should be the admiration of the persons. Then the positive will come out, and then the positivity will come out, and the effect will be nice. So we have finished here this lecture. Again we will come in front of each other with a new topic. Till then, thank you very much.